I think I was 12 or 13. It might have been 12, because it was like before COVID.
The president's in Michigan, home of the U.S. auto industry, as the White House announces it is easing some tariffs on automakers.
I don't remember how old I was, but I was like 12 or 13, I think, because it was around the end of 7th grade when I fully came out.
This kind of varies. I really don't remember how old I was when I came out as bisexual to my mom. I know for coming out as trans, it would have been in 7th grade, so like 11 or 12, probably 11. And then having come out to my dad and my dad's side of the family, I want to say probably 12 or 13.
How would you describe the last 100 days? So much has happened.
Actually, I would say it's biblical. Things are happening. This is a president that's getting it done.
When I fully came out, I was like 12.
I love the fact that Elon Musk is fighting all the corruption.
I think if you look at what he's been able to do on the border, where he hasn't had any opposition, that's indicative of where we'd be somewhere else.
So I've been out, at least as liking girls. I feel like the people in my life have known that since maybe like 8th grade, 9th grade. And then for my gender identity, that is more recent. That was like sophomore year, so 2 years ago.
The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. Can you believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Wednesday, April 30th, 2025 was to me just another ordinary day. Wake up at 5 o'clock, go to my high school, have the rest of my day free after 1:20 given that it was an early release day, text my friends, and end my night by watching a movie. Although, on a national and statewide scale, it was extraordinary. On January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump was re-elected as the U.S.'s 47th president. 100 days after that was April 30th. To commemorate his first 100 days back in office, well, he decided to pay my state a visit. Going from Selfridge Air Base, which is right near my house, to Macomb Community College. As per usual, he gave a speech at both, ending with a rally at Macomb.
Well, hello, Michigan. Thank you very much. Hello, Michigan. Hello, we love you, Michigan. We love you. We just had the biggest victory in Michigan. They said, sir, it's going to be hard. Well, we won it twice. We actually won it 3 times. You want to really know that? But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state. I love this state. Got a lot of auto jobs coming. Watch what's happening. The companies are coming in by the tens. You got to see what's happening. They all want to come back to Michigan and build cars again. You know why? Because of our tax and tariff policy. They're coming from all over the world. They're coming up and they're opening up plants and they're talking to us all day and all night. They want to get here and they're coming in at levels you've never seen before. And I want to thank the auto workers for your support. That was great. But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in.
To make a film about the current Trump presidency, you really only have 2 options. You either look at everything he's done as a whole to the residents of the U.S., or pick a specific group his policies are affecting. Given my commitment to tell stories close to home, in which I know well enough, this film is about his attack on the teenage queer community. However, his actions haven't just affected them. They have harmed the wider queer community, immigrants, migrants, Latinos, Asian Americans, Native Americans, African Americans, elders, women, and citizens of the United States of America. This film won't cover his administration's effect on all of them due to time and my belief in allowing communities to tell their stories about themselves in their own way. During his last term in his re-election campaign, he made sure to voice his disdain for trans and queer teens. Trans and queer teens who aren't monoliths, but are wholly different from each other.
I identify for my sexuality, I identify as lesbian. I feel like comfortable in that label. But for like my gender identity, I don't really like labels, so I just try to stay away from that. But I'm kind of just like me, is the best way to describe it.
I'm bisexual. I would say I'm attracted to both boys and girls, but mostly boys.
I identify as bisexual. Well, I identify as a few things. But bisexual mainly, which is just attraction to all genders. I'm a trans man, so born female, and I identify as male.
After decades of politicians who destroyed Detroit to build up Beijing, you finally have a champion for workers in the White House, and instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first. After a lifetime of unelected bureaucrats stealing your paychecks, attacking your values, and trampling your freedoms, we are stopping their gravy train, ending their power trip, and telling thousands of corrupt, incompetent, and unnecessary deep state bureaucrats, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Get out of here.
I identify as a trans male, so I used to be a female and now identify as male.
It's a good question. I don't really know how I identify. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really identify as anything, just kind of whatever feels good in the moment.
I identify... Honestly, lately I've been not really labeling it, but if I had to label it, it'd be probably like in between bi or pan.
Starting on day one, I deployed the U.S. military to defend our country from the invasion of our border. I shut down all migrant flights. Do you remember when we're talking about people coming in, they're trying to deny it, okay? So people are flowing in, they say, no, I don't see any people. It's like, what's wrong? But then we saw airplanes going overhead. We said, what the hell are those airplanes doing? Big Boeing 757s were traveling right overhead, loaded up with people. I say, where the hell are those planes going? They were loaded up with migrants coming in illegally, flying in by plane, paid for by the U.S. government. I'll tell you, they are sick. Remember that day? That was the day we found out that not only do we have to defend it here, we have to defend it not only in the water, but we have to defend it in the air. The planes were going over us. I said, what the hell is that?
I'd say I knew around 7th grade, I think. Like the middle of 7th grade, specifically in gym class. I don't know why, but that's what my mind goes to.
I banned all welfare to illegals, and I signed an order that will end automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. No citizenship. For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation.
Probably, it's kind of like been something I've known most of my life, but I think I started realizing it around 2nd or 3rd grade. I'm in 10th grade now, so like 7, 8 years ago, give or take.
He needed legislation. He had no power to get it, but it turned out that all we needed was a new president.
I've known for 5 years now. So, before COVID. And yeah.
Since I was like 12, 11.
Since middle school, I would say.
So I guess I first started feeling like I was different like in 6th grade, I guess. And I have this one very distinct memory. It was the first time like I always I always felt okay with the label of a girl. Like, I'm a very feminine person. I think that I identify with a lot of femininity, and so I never had a problem with it. But then there was this one time in like 7th grade, and somebody was like asking for where I was, and they used the pronoun she, and I was like, oh, like, I don't know about that one, I guess. But I've always, I guess I have known, I don't know. That was like the first time I was like kind of like, I don't know about this she her stuff. And I didn't know that I liked girls since I was like 6th grade, so I've known that for a long time. But the gender stuff is more recent, I guess.
I think there definitely is, based off my experience. I have a lot of queer friends, and I think that being queer generally will attract you towards others that are also queer. Like, I think, like, obviously I have dyed hair and that sort of thing. So when I go to school, you look at me and you're like, oh, he's gay. Like, obviously it's not like that for everybody. I know not everybody is like visibly queer, but I find that I am, and I find that a lot of people are, and I will gravitate towards them. So there is, I think, a pretty large queer community in our school, even if like there also is a larger non-queer community, if that makes sense.
Me, I haven't really had that many experiences with other queer teens at our school because I feel like I've never really fit in with them for whatever reason, but I do know there are a lot of queer kids at our school. I know that because I mean, okay, I guess I have had experiences, but most of my friends are queer and my best friend is queer, so there's definitely a large community at our school. But I can't say I've had many like experiences like with the community like as a whole.
All of my friends are queer, so yeah, I know a lot of queer people, and they're all really nice. Well, most of them are really nice, and I'd say there's a decent amount of queer people in our school.
But I signed the Lake and Riley Act to facilitate the expulsion of dangerous criminal aliens, and when necessary, we had to put them in jail. We couldn't take a chance that they'd come back in again. In recent weeks, ICE, who are great, these people are great, has arrested dozens of child rapists along with murderers, kidnappers, drug traffickers, and thieves, and frankly, people from mental institutions. We've designated 6 murderous Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We have also designated 2 bloodthirsty transnational gangs, MS-13 and Trendiaragua, TDA. They've been designated the highest level of terrorist, and that lets us do a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do. We got to get them out of here before they kill more people. They've killed plenty. My administration has increased arrests of known and suspected terrorists by 655%. Is that okay? We tried to get it higher. But the courts are giving us a hard time. Can you believe? You know, I won on the basis of, I think the number one thing was on illegal immigration, the border, the people pouring across our border that are from all over the world. They're unbelievably bad. In many cases, unbelievably bad people. I think that was the number one thing. And now the courts are trying to say that, you know, that doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to be allowed to stand. Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We are delivering mass deportation, and it's happening very fast. And the worst of the worst are being sent to a no-nonsense prison in El Salvador.
So most of my friends honestly are queer. I have like a good chunk that aren't too, but most of the people like that I hang out with are other queer people just because, you know, I feel like we are attracted to each other, like not like in a weird way, but we just like are drawn to each other, I guess, because they understand me. And I think there is like a bit of a community at our school. I would say like because I'm friends with a lot of queer people, but I think that within the queer people at our school, like there's still some like a lot of the people who identify as queer at our school like are still ableist or like transphobic or whatever, even though they are queer. And I think that there's always going to be like stuff like that within queer communities, but I've also noticed it like at our school.
Yes, I met a couple of them. I know a couple of them, and I would say it's a lot, but like it's scarce at the same time.
I go to it's a art school, but it's a public school, so it's like a regular school, but it's like a supportive area for LGBTQ people.
And just this month, 2 Venezuelan members of TDA, Transgender, were arrested in Washington state for kidnapping a 58-year-old woman driving a power drill through her hand to extort her bank account information, shooting her, leaving her for dead. And miraculously, she just survived, but she's not feeling so well. In January, Transgender member in Chicago kidnapped 3 women, took them in an alley, lined them up, and shot them each in the head. They all died. And the FBI recently assessed that these vicious gangs have been sent by the foreign regime in Venezuela to foment violence and instability in the United States of America. Can't let that happen.
Being queer, it was a lot worse in middle school. I'll say that. Like based off of how I've been treated by others. Because middle school is kind of brutal and kids are brutal, and it was a lot. Like a lot of people were very cruel to me in middle school, and I think high school is definitely a lot better. It's not perfect, and there's still going to be mean people because that's just going to happen everywhere you go. But I think once you get into high school, because there's so many people and there's like a lot more for us to be focusing on, it's like, why does that matter anymore? So it's like now I can show up to school pretty comfortably looking like kind of weird and no one really cares because it's like we have bigger problems going on. So in that aspect, like it definitely made me a different person, especially in middle school, because it had a really big effect on me and my self-esteem.
It has been a struggle my whole life. It has torn my family apart away from me because my extended family and my father are not very accepting of my identity. But yeah, I've went through some tough things at my old school, Lance Cruz. So yeah, I have been bullied my whole life in that school district and decided to transfer to Arts Academy.
As far as like my family goes, it's definitely been interesting, especially being trans, because honestly, being gay, like just being bisexual, probably wouldn't have affected it as much if I wasn't trans. Like, my mom doesn't care, and my dad's interesting. But when it comes to me being trans, it's a whole bigger issue because it's a different preferred name and it's a different set of pronouns. And that took most of my family a really long time to adjust to. And a lot of my family still hasn't fully like adjusted or has chosen not to fully adjust. So it's difficult, but when you've been doing it for years, it gets easier, I think.
And it's not just, in all fairness, not Venezuela. It's all over the world. It's all over. They come in from the Congo. They come in from Africa. The Congo, they emptied out their prisons into our country. But they come from Africa, Asia, South America. They come from all over bad parts of Europe. That's why we've invoked the Alien Enemies Act to expel every foreign terrorist from our soil as quickly as possible.
So say I am like very lucky to have the life that I have. My parents are like super chill. Like I've come home with like girls before and they don't care. And I've told them like about my preferred pronouns and they're fine with it. Like they use my pronouns and all that stuff. So I feel very lucky in that way. And I do think that it's made my life a little bit harder, like outside of my home, because especially maybe like at school, I don't know about like, I mean, it hasn't made it like that much more difficult, I think, than if I was, straight and like cis, but there's definitely been some comments that I've gotten over like a few years and that just like kind of rubbed me the wrong way, like they wouldn't have said that if I didn't look like a queer person.
When I first came out to like my friends at first, but but then like I would say like after high school, it was different that I accepted. I thought I was gonna get bullied, which I wasn't, and it really hasn't really altered my relationships with nobody, honestly.
And I also will only like make relationships with people if I know they're like a good person. I'm not gonna like be friends with somebody and then if they find out like that I'm gay, like they aren't friends with me anymore. Like if I even like get that vibe a little bit, I'm not gonna be friends with them. So it hasn't really impacted my personal relationships too much, but it's mostly just like offhand comments that I'll get once in a while, you know?
Well, in my family, especially with my grandparents, it's complicated our relationship a little bit. And I'm personally more happy with myself. I feel more confident after coming out and starting my transition. And yeah, and my friends are all really supportive, but with my grandparents specifically, they're still getting used to it, I guess. So.
So since like coming out, I haven't really been treated that differently within my like family, that's for sure, other than like maybe in relationships I didn't really care about, like with grandparents or whatnot. With my immediate family and people I genuinely care about, I haven't been treated any differently. But I've definitely been treated differently by like, I don't know. It's like other kids at the school, like just being made, even if it wasn't just like a defining like homophobic moment, just like seeing me differently, that's for sure. Like before, I could just talk to someone and they would talk like to me, but now they just see me as like the weird kid, you know, just because I'm queer. Um, so that especially in middle school, I can't say as much now, but then also how I view myself hasn't really changed. If anything, it's made me more confident.
And also, we cannot allow a handful of communist radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the President to keep our country safe, and it's not a good thing. But I hope, for the sake of our country, that the Supreme Court is going to save this, because we have to do something. These people are just looking to destroy our country. Nothing will stop me in the mission to keep America safe again. It's very simple. Keep America safe again.
It was my outing was kind of. I kind of did it on my own accord, so I just came out to my friends. Yeah. I think 14. Yeah, 14.
Yes, I'm out. I'm out to like everybody in my life. I don't know. I didn't really come out as gay, as lesbian. Like that never happened. I just kind of never was interested in guys. I mean, I have been in a relationship with one man. And like my family like knew about it and stuff. But after that happened, I kind of like that is kind of not to be like, you know, but that kind of did help me realize that I don't like men. But I kind of just like stopped talking about men, and I would just talk about how, you know, I like girls, and like I'm open to talking about that with like my parents and my family and stuff, so they all just like know. You know, I never really had to like come out to them.
I am out. So I live with my mom, and she knew I was bisexual first, and it was kind of funny because coming out as bi, I mean, I've gone through a lot of identities throughout like my life, so like I don't know if I ever really specifically said I'm bisexual, but like she knows I like everyone. And I don't really specifically remember telling it to her, but I do remember she's told me this multiple times that when I started developing a personality, like even before I knew, she had a suspicion that I was gay, and I was like, okay, all right. So she knows before me, I guess. But like she's never really cared. Like I said before, it's never been like she's never really cared. She's like, date who you want, I don't care.
But I did have to for like my gender expression and stuff. So basically what happened with that, it was not voluntary. I was outed like on accident by someone's mom. because I like would go by my preferred name with like my friends and stuff, and they were like, my mom was talking to their mom, and they used like, they call me Kite, and we're using they, and my mom like texted me about that. She was like, by the way, like so and so's mom was calling you this and this, is that like your preferred name and whatever. I was like, oh yeah. And so I just told her about that. And then, but it was like fine. Like, I don't have anything crazy. And I've like never come out to any of my friends either. They just all know. So, but that's it.
As far as being trans, that went a lot differently. Because I remember in middle school wanting to go by River and go by different pronouns to my teachers and stuff, and for whatever reason they had like a strict rule about that where it was like, oh, well, your parent has to call in and give permission for that. And I was like, you know what? I haven't tried that yet. Let's try it. So I tried it in 7th grade, and my mom was like, no. And she like had this whole thing. I honestly don't even fully remember her reasoning for it, but it's like, well, it's something like scientific where she's like, oh, well, you like, you don't know what you're, I don't know what she said, but not okay with it is my point. And then as far as my dad goes, I have a gay brother. He's on my dad's side. My dad, from what I've heard, did not take that well. My brother's like 30, so this was obviously a long time ago, but then he didn't take it well, but he's okay with me. I still am in contact with my dad and still will talk to him. Coming out as trans was difficult. That took a while, but I think he's become better than my mom on it, honestly. I mean, he's still got some work, but I mean, he uses my name, which my mom doesn't do, so we have that much. So, yeah.
So I've been out at least as liking girls. I feel like the people in my life have known that since maybe like 8th grade, 9th grade. And then for my gender identity, that is more recent. That was like sophomore year. So 2 years ago.
This kind of varies. I really don't remember how old I was when I came out as bisexual to my mom. I know for coming out as trans, it would have been in 7th grade, so like 11 or 12, probably 11. And then having come out to my dad and my dad's side of the family, I want to say probably 12 or 13.
I am out, and when I came out, I was almost disowned. Sorry. Yes, I was almost disowned by my father. So, I'm out, but it's not like everyone supports me or respects me. When I fully came out, I was like 12.
Yes, I am out to, I mean, anyone probably know other than like, yes, I'm out. And my experience was, I came out in 2020. So I don't remember that much about it, but I do know I first told my brother. We were swimming in my grandma's pool, and I just told him, I think I like girls. And he was like, cool. And then I was like, well, that's interesting. So I told my mom, and she was like, cool. And then I told my dad, and he was cool with it. And I don't really remember what happened after that. I just know they were cool with it. I think I was 12 or 13. It might have been 12, because it was like before COVID.
I am out, yes. Coming out as queer in regards to my sexuality, I didn't really have a coming out time. I just casually mentioned that I had a crush. This was pre-transition. that I had a crush on a girl, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, I knew you weren't straight a while ago." So that that was pretty funny. But coming out as trans was, I think I made it a bigger deal than it needed to be, which stressed me out, which caused my mom to be stressed out, which became a whole thing. And yeah, that was a little stressful, but I'm glad I did it when I did. I don't remember how old I was, but I was like 12 or 13, I think, because it was around the end of 7th grade when I fully came out.
And I withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council, which is totally disgusting.
Yes and yes. Oh, have I experienced this. So most of the homophobia and transphobia I've experienced have been within either the high school or my middle school experience. Or even dating back to elementary school, like just a little bit, because I wasn't out in elementary school, but like in 5th grade stuff happened. But I like most of middle school, I kind of just went through, like, people called me slurs. I was made fun of for how I dressed because I dressed very like alternative in middle school. Like I was made fun of for that sort of thing. Basically just anything, because I'm autistic, and like, which I know obviously this doesn't tie into homophobia, but I swear I'm going somewhere here. Like, I was made fun of for basically every aspect of my person, but I feel like a lot of it kind of just ties back to the fact that I'm queer.
Yes, I have, specifically at the high school. I've been called many slurs. And I had a bully in middle school who was not nice about it at all. But I mean, no violence or anything extreme. So,
because a lot of those things, like for example, how I dress, I think that has been shaped very much like because of my identity, like because like they go hand in hand, like how I choose to dress myself and how I identify. And I was made fun of for those things, and like it just kind of sucked. But yeah, I experienced it a lot in middle school. As I've said, going into high school it wasn't as bad, but I still have, like, I don't know if I've experienced much direct homophobia and transphobia. I definitely have. I go to school with my cousin. He's in my grade. And it's a little weird because my voice cracked, every single person in the grade and all my teachers and everyone calls me River. Like, everybody has adjusted to that. Even people I went to middle school and elementary school with who maybe used to be transphobic to me, they're all like, whatever, or they just don't interact with me. But everyone calls me River.
At my new school, I haven't experienced, like, really any, just because it's a very supportive area. But at my old school, I was harassed, and bullied very, very often. There were points where people had put their hands on me as well. So I have experienced pretty bad transphobia. Like I said, also from family and old friends that I had.
And I banned all government censorship and restored free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. I ended all of the lawless so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion bullshit all across the entire federal government and the private sector. And I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. And a really easy one, this was the easiest one I had. I banned men from competing in women's sports. You know, they always say that's an 80-20 issue. No, it's about a 97-3 issue. I also proudly banned the use of puberty blockers and other chemical and surgical, right? All these mutilations of our minor youth, I banned it all. I signed executive orders to abolish critical race theory and transgender insanity from our schools and from our military. We fired the woke boards of visitors at our military academies. We have great people running our military academies now. And I've directed the reinstatement of patriots expelled from our military by the Biden vaccine mandate with full back pay.
So for experiencing like homophobia, I think the only place that I've experienced that actually is at school. I remember there's this one time I was like walking down the hallway and I was holding hands with somebody, and then like some other guy came up and like was making fun of us, and it was like, I don't know, like I don't PDA anymore because of that, and I don't know, it just was like weird and icky because that was like the first time that something like that had happened to me, especially because I live with like the most accepting people in my house, so like being exposed to that at school was probably the first time in my life that I was exposed to that, and I was just like, oh, I don't like that, and it made me not want to, you know, do anything like in public anymore, which I kind of don't that much, but I guess it depends. But there was that.
I haven't. Well, I guess I have, but like, I guess I experienced before. It's like when boys give me dirty looks for no reason, but I I don't really care. I just I look the other way.
There was also okay, I know I just talked about like not being friends with shitty people. Sorry, can I swear?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I talked about like I'm not gonna be friends with shitty people, but there was this one person that I was kind of like mutual friends with, and like he knew that I like my preferred name, my preferred pronouns, all that, and I don't think he even knew what my legal name was. Like I don't think he knew that I also go by Hannah, and so he was like really mad when he found out, and he was like, "Oh, I've been calling you Kite this whole time. Like that's not even your real name. Like whatever." And I'm just like it doesn't really matter that much though because that's what you know me as, you know. And I don't know, that the whole situation was just really weird, and he also said something to me that was like telling me to like just pick a gender. Which I don't know, that didn't really bother me because it was just like some guy being stupid. But I'm not friends with him anymore. I like immediately blocked him on everything and don't talk to him at all, so. But yeah, that's it.
I definitely have experienced homophobia. At our high school, not really like, I guess the most I'd say at our high school was just people screaming like slurs at me from outside, not really like during school, just like driving past. They just yelled the F slur at me and my friends. But I have experienced homophobia at like, I don't know if it's like I have experienced it outside of school, like at Ferndale Pride and, you know, protesters and stuff. Just, it's definitely scary. That and also kind of just like, it can be funny though when they're screaming shit at stuff. Sorry, I don't know if you care about. Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. You're all good.
All right. It's just like screaming stuff at us from their car, and it's just like, what are you doing? But I haven't had any big homophobic moments in my life, which I guess that makes me lucky.
Dr. Al-Nashar in Warren, Michigan, where President Trump is holding his biggest public event since he was inaugurated 100 days ago. And that's a critical benchmark in any presidency. While polls show the general public is starting to sour on the president's handling of some key issues like the economy, some supporters I'm talking to here say they feel like they are getting what they voted for, but in some instances want to see more.
USA! USA!
How would you describe the last 100 days? So much has happened.
Actually, I would say it's biblical. Things are happening. This is a president that's getting it done.
I love the fact that Elon Musk is fighting all the corruption.
I think if you look at what he's been able to do on the border, where he hasn't had any opposition, that's indicative of where we'd be somewhere else.
Is there anything you want to see President Trump focus more on?
Well, I'd say now that the immigration and the borders kind of, handled to an extent, I think we should shift our focus to the Ukraine-Russia war.
No taxes on tip, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security. I need Congress. Get in there and get the job done. This is what we voted for this administration to do. Get the job done. We're ready.
Now, this isn't technically a campaign rally, but Michigan is a battleground state. Its Senate and House races will be big prizes in next year's midterm elections. And Michigan is where Trump held his final campaign rallies of the 2016, 2020, and 2024 elections. And last November, he won the state narrowly, and that was key to his presidential victory.
For one, the border, I know people talk about that a lot, but it's just of how big of a problem it was. We have millions of people coming in illegally, which you can't have. If I went to a country and I just hopped over their border, they'd handcuff me and ship me right back, probably get in trouble. It used to be the same here.
I think a lot is doing with the border and the immigration and getting them out, the illegal immigrants. So, and if he's allowed to continue doing his job and being stopped by all the people that are trying to stop him from doing what he needs to do, it'll even be more so. But he's a fighter. He's not going to give up. He's not going to back down. And that's why we love him.
It's just turning around the vibes, I would say. We're hopeful again. I would think so. Before it was doom and gloom. I mean, one side feels that way now, but it felt like before the whole place felt like that.
I think that all these anti-LGBT whatever, anti-woke, all that is so fucking stupid. Like, because it's not gonna stop people from being gay. They're just gonna be more quiet about it, I guess. And even in some cases they're not. So like I'm not gonna be quieter about it. Like I personally don't care. I mean obviously I care about like the issues and stuff, but for me, if I'm not gonna be able to like be myself, then like what's even the point, So I am just gonna keep doing what I'm already doing.
Yeah, so all the anti-LGBTQ stuff definitely scary. I have my first hour teacher, I love him dearly. He's very, very, very liberal like I am, and so he has a very similar view on a lot of these things, which is generally not good. This stuff sucks. But I remember he sent me this article and it was called "Don't Believe Them," and it was basically the premise of it was just a lot of the a lot of the legislation that is being passed, and a lot of it is a scare tactic, because the media, what they're showing is, look at all this bad stuff he's doing, look at this, look at that, but they're not showing the fact that a lot of it is not actually getting passed. Like it's not like he can just be like, this is enacted now and everyone like freaks out. It's like it's a process, and obviously I'm not gonna act like it's any less scary. Believe me, it's terrifying. I've cried over it, but like I'm trying to like play not devil's advocate. I'm trying to like be like, okay, let's be realistic. Maybe it won't be as bad, or maybe it will. I really don't know.
Even like, I hope that also like other queer people who are less confident in their identities than I am will like be able to see me being more open and feel more comfortable being open themselves, which is like part of the reason that I'm so vocal about stuff. And sorry, I just lost my train of thought. And but I do think that like all the anti-gay stuff, like that's coming up all over the place, is super, super problematic. Like it's an actual serious problem that people need to worry about. And a lot of times people just don't care about it because like, oh, like I'm not gay, so why does it matter? But I think that even like straight and cis people need to talk about it more because they, like, you know, anti-gay people aren't gonna listen to gay people. So straight people need to also say something about it, you know? And my thoughts.
I feel like you shouldn't hide who you are for the government. I think that's kind of messed up. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna protest as much as I can because you shouldn't hide who you are.
I definitely feel angry and anxious, especially because like we've made so much progress with normalizing the LGBTQ plus community, and now it feels like we're just going back in time, and like it makes me worried about like what could be next. Like, am I not going to be able to get married one day? And also, I'm especially worried about trans people, like trans members of the community. And I guess how I keep my identity is just being myself, like not hiding it as much as possible, you know, if it's unsafe, then obviously, but like other than that, I'm not just gonna like go back into the closet, you know?
Today, February 25th, in the 2025th year of our Lord, I hereby call on the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Obergefell versus Hodges. This decision has defaced the definition of marriage, undermined our God-given rights, increased persecution of Christians, and confused the American family structure. Michigan Christians follow Christ's definition of marriage as a covenant between a man and a woman, an institution established to glorify God and produce children. 10 years ago, the United States Supreme Court redefined the sacred institution of marriage. This blunder compromised the mother-father-child family unit. This decision deprived children of a fundamental right to be born and raised by a mother and a father. Article 1, Section 25 of the Michigan Constitution states, "To secure and preserve the benefits of marriage for our society and for future generations of children, the union of one man and one woman in marriage shall be the only agreement recognized as a marriage or similar union for any purpose." Was this not just approved by a majority of Michigan voters? Is 2004 ancient history? In 2019, our Attorney General Dana Nessel threatened to cancel the contracts of Christian adoption agencies who, by faith, refused to place foster children in the homes of same-sex couples. My constituents are outraged as schools push radical policies that ignore biological reality. Rochester High School allows boys to enter the girls' bathroom and girls to enter the boys' bathroom. This must all end now. Has Obergefell v. Hodges not widened a portal where gays, queers, transsexuals, polygamists, minor attracted persons, and other perverts advance attacks on our children? In Grand Rapids, Broadway Avenue, a wedding venue, It was fined $500 for declining to host same-sex ceremonies in accordance with the owner's belief in Christ. In Kentucky, County Clerk Kim Davis was jailed for 6 days and forced to pay over $300,000 in legal fees simply because she refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Why? Because she decided to be obedient to Christ instead of the state. The Constitution does not grant the judiciary power to redefine fundamental institutions such as marriage. The American legal tradition based on natural law, the will of the people, and constitutional originalism upholds marriage as a union between a man and a woman. Any deviation from this definition undermines the legal and moral foundation of this republic. Marriage belongs to one man and one woman. This is a biological necessity to preserve and grow our human race. This is a means not only to create and raise children, but train them up in the way they should go. Even marriages that cannot produce children reflect God's beautiful design. It has been 10 years. We have more proof than ever to show that this shift in the family structure is bad for Michigan children. Children raised by same-sex couples face greater challenges in education, employment, self-sufficiency, compared to those raised by a mother and a father. Children raised in same-sex households are 2 to 3 times more likely to experience developmental delays. To my fellow conservatives, if we cannot conserve the bedrock of our civilization, the family, then we can't call ourselves conservatives anymore. Now is the time to do the right thing. Now is the time to reassert the sovereignty of Christ as our King. Now is the time to restore the authority of God and submit our will to He who knows what's best. We must restore the order of the family. The family is the smallest, most intimate governing body in our great nation. May our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you. May He be gracious to you. May He turn His face towards you and give you peace. Amen. Thank you.
Representative, what happened to the other sponsors? Not respect the separation. Oh, no question? Oh, what happened to 12?
I'll take questions.
I mean, everything's scary right now with everything going on. I'm scared, but I also believe in our governor right now. I love you, Gretchen Whitmer. Anyways, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
You're okay.
having fog right now.
You're okay.
Yeah, it's worrying, the state of the US right now. But I have hope just because of where I'm at right now. I'm in a more comfortable spot after moving schools, and I've been getting my life back together, so.
Thank you very much. This is a nice crowd, isn't it, huh? You've been waiting a long time for this. Yeah. So have I. Actually, it was so ridiculous. But here we are. And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. front, please. Down in front. Thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody, thank you. You know, if you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on. Secret Service is worried about them. If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? You ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature, because this is, this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
I've definitely been much more stressed out since the election. Worried for the future and whatnot. But I'm trying to keep a positive attitude about it, because I'm just hoping stuff will get better. I plan on participating in more like protests and stuff like that, and contributing to the community more, to and trying to get my voice out there to help move things along, if you will.
Just come on up here. So, great friend, terrific fighter, community member, Michigan's first openly gay state senator, has represented this city in multiple aspects and offices, and also known as the state senator that introduced the bill that became law that added sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression to Michigan's Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. So, y'all, can we give it up for State Senator Jeremy Moss?
Happy Pride, Ferndale. Who has pride today? So before I even start, I really want to give a huge thank you to Julia Music, to all the board members of Ferndale Pride, to all of the volunteers that have put so many hours, not just today, but year-long, to make this festival happen. Give them a prideful cheer. So, it's been said, this Pride is a little different from Prides in the past, especially last year. Pride is supposed to be about a celebration of our progress, and we do have a lot to celebrate. As was mentioned, it was my honor to complete this 40-year journey to add sexual orientation and gender identity and expression as protected classes in the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. It is illegal to discriminate against someone in Michigan in housing, employment, and healthcare and education because of who they love and how they identify. But we did not stop there. We strengthened our hate crimes law to ensure that our community is protected from violence and other acts of hatred. We banned the barbaric practice of conversion therapy in the state of Michigan. We've achieved a lot and so much more, but we know there is chaos that permeates from the White House and finds itself into our communities here at home. I want to make clear about one thing, though. Donald Trump's unlawful executive orders are not the law of this state. Elliott Larson is the law of this state. But nonetheless, this type of hatred and bigotry, we feel it back home. And so we gotta take Pride back to its roots. Remember, the first Pride did not start as a celebration. It started as a liberation against hate and bigotry and discrimination. So this is a moment for us to stand up and speak out and lead with love. said this earlier, and it's true. The thing that aggravates me the most in this moment is the gaslighting from those who fight against us, who say we're asking for too much, we're getting too political, we're doing things that not everybody else is okay with, while they literally actively try to strip away the progress that we have made. They call us political, but they're the ones throwing the politics at us. We have to get political because that's the only way to make progress. So this is a moment for all of us to speak up, to stand up, and to fight back. When I ran for the state legislature in 2014, they were talking about us. We weren't at the table, but they were fine having all of these conversations about our prosperities and our futures without us there. It is important for all of us and for all of you to be in the room where decisions about us are being made. If you don't have a seat at the table, find a chair and pull it up. I know something about pulling up chairs at places that I was not invited to be. I recently found myself in somebody else's press conference. A state representative who wanted to re-ban same-sex marriage here in the state of Michigan. I had to show up because if you're gonna say something about me, you're gonna say it to my face. But I sat in that press conference and then overtook that press conference because I was speaking for all of you. I wanted you to have a voice in the room. I wanted you to feel seen and represented. Because as Emmy said, who has our back? We have our back. So this is a moment that we're all living through. But we know those who more than 50 years ago threw bottles at Stonewall, fought in the streets, marched, paraded, and earned all of the progress that we enjoy today. It is our job to keep carrying that baton. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna stand up. What are we gonna do? We're gonna speak out. What are we gonna do? We're gonna show up. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have pride. What are we gonna do? Happy Pride, Ferndale. I'm on this journey with you. I'm excited about some next steps moving forward, and we're gonna make sure our LGBTQ community in Michigan has a voice and feels seen. Happy Pride.
As of recording this, it has been almost 150 days since Donald Trump re-entered his formerly held office as the U.S.'s president, during which time this film was shot, edited, and practically completed. Not only that, but the refounded administration has stepped up its policy of hatred. Currently, 455 people have been arrested in my state city of Detroit by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. Statewide, for what I could find, is rather hard to say. Nationwide, ICE, under Trump's order, has detained 51,302 people as of recording, some of which have come here illegally and some who are citizens of this country. To say that I'm scared of what has become of my country is an understatement. I'm terrified. Not only are those who are an other by country of origin persecuted by my nation, but those who are an other by sexuality and gender expression are as well. Per the current government, some of my male and female classmates, friends, and family are no longer treated as such, their gender expression denied by policy, as are some of my non-binary and gender non-conforming compatriots, who are now nothing, not even recognized by our government. Also, with trans kids as well, their very identities have become political cannon fodder. Per one of Trump's executive orders, the United States will not fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support the so-called, quote, transition, unquote, of a child from one sex to another, and it will rigorously enforce all laws that prohibit or limit these destructive and life-alternating procedures. Along with his executive order, the Department of Health and Human Services has created a tip line for those to snitch on doctors helping teens with their gender-affirming care. Who's to say who's next? Maybe someday, in the next 4 years, my own identity as a queer male will come under threat. Hell, maybe even my leftist leanings will catch me under fire. I hope to God that doesn't happen. But with the constant changes going on in the U.S., well, I have to be ready for anything. In late May, an 18-year-old student who went to Western International High School was detained by ICE. Although off campus, he was still a high school student, barely an adult, yet he was taken. Although not from my state, some of those who have been illegally detained by ICE are some of whom are legal citizens within my country, all of whom were detained for being foreign and using their right to free speech to voice their disdain for the genocide Israel is committing against Palestinians, which the U.S. is supporting. Although, thankfully, these 7 haven't been sent to a prison in El Salvador. These 7 are just some of the victims of the Trump presidency. In a way, we all are. Sooner or later, Trump is going to do something to affect all of us. For now, the victims are immigrants, migrants, trans children and adults, other queer people, and citizens of the United States of America.
Look at him choke him! Look at him choke him! Look at him choke him! Hey, no resistas! No resistas! No resistas! No resistas! Dame un número para hablar, yo le hablo a tu familia. Dame un número. No te puedo, no me puedo. Hey, back up, bro. Back up. They can arrest you too right now. Hey, dame un número.
We've done this all in 14 weeks. That's one, remember that. 100 days. We've done all of the things that I named and a lot more. And we're counting, and it's going to be better. Wait till you see the results of some of the things that we're doing. From Marquette to Midland, from Mackinac to Saginaw, and from Lansing to right here in Macomb County, we stand on the shoulders of red-blooded Michigan patriots. What great people. I love you, Michigan. Who laid the railroads, worked the factories, tilled the field, forged the steel, fought the battles and won the victories that built the Motor City and made this state into the pride of the America Midwest. And you know what? We're going to make it better than it ever was. It's already happening. You see what's happening. Michigan is the state that gave us the assembly line, Motown, Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, and put the world behind the wheel of an automobile. And under our leadership, we are making it greater every single day. And the automobile business in Michigan will soon, and it's going to happen really soon. It's already happening. They're signing left and right because of my taxation and tariff policies, which are policies of common sense and genius, be bigger and stronger and better than ever before. It's going to get better than ever before. And it won't even be close. Companies will be pouring back into Michigan. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And on November 5th, 2024, it was hardworking patriots like you who saved our country. So thanks to your help, your love, and your support, after 100 days back in the White House, America is a free, proud, and sovereign nation once more. And our magnificent destiny is closer than ever before. It's closer than ever before. You have no idea how close it is. Our golden age has only just begun. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. We will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. Together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. I love you, Michigan. I love you. Have a good time. Thank you. God bless you all.
To any young trans people, I would just like to say that it really is so heartbreaking, being told that who you are is wrong, but eventually it gets easier. When I was younger, I genuinely didn't think I would make it towards my age now. So I just wanted to say that for any young trans people, that it gets better and that there are people that love you out there. So, yeah.
Screw Trump. That's, yeah. Otherwise, not really.
My message is you shouldn't change who you are for other people. Be who you are.
To anybody watching this, you can do it. That's so motivational speech. But I mean, no, being being queer in general kind of sucks. It's difficult, and a really vast majority of people don't understand it, especially if you have a more complicated identity. And I feel that in my soul. And it's difficult, and it sucks, and it's gonna feel impossible, but it's not, because you can find even if you don't have people right now in your life that really understand that, that's okay, because you can find those types of people. I have plenty of close friends who I think, deeply understand me, at least to some degree, and my identity. And it's very helpful and it's very nice to be able to like have somebody who I can relate to, or who can at least understand somewhat what I'm going through. So just have a good support system, just have people who are accepting and understand you. And yeah.
Okay. It's by Henry David Thoreau, and it's, "For it matters not how small the beginning may seem to be, for what is once well done is done forever."
GOP state lawmakers want to ban gender transition medical care for minors in the state of Michigan. I'm State Capitol reporter Alana Johnson, and the bills would ban medical gender-affirming care for anyone under the age of 18. But an advocate tells me that these bills could bring more harm to the LGBTQ community. The legislation comes days after the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services issued a review of evidence and best practices for the treatment of minors identifying as transgender. Republican State Representative Brad Paquette and Senator Thomas Albert said the bills are meant to protect minors in the future.
And children cannot consent to naming their healthy body for life in the name of care, or in the name also of achieving something that cannot be achieved, and that's changing one's sex.
Linda Sarnelli, a transgender woman and LGBTQ advocate, thinks that the final decision should be up to the parent, but believes the state has no part to play in it.
I think parents should be allowed to make these decisions without interference from the state government.
The democratically controlled state Senate would need to approve the bills to send it to Governor Gretchen Whitmer's desk. At the Capitol, Alana Johnson, Fox 47 News.
A change is coming to the nation's 988 hotline that brings critical access to care for people suffering from mental health emergencies. It will end a specialized option for youths in the LGBTQ+ community.
Some organizations are criticizing the move, but a mental health advocate tells TV5's Trey Harris people will still get the help they need.
You may know to dial 988 in a mental health crisis, but starting next month, a lifeline specifically for LGBTQ+ youth will disappear. And while some may see it as a step back, others believe the support will still be there, just in a different form.
It's not going to stop the care that they're going to receive.
The Press 3 option on 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline was launched in 2022, giving LGBTQ+ youth a direct line to counselors trained to support their specific needs.
When they made the call, they prompted 3 that they knew that they were going to get their needs met.
But on July 17th, that option is being phased out. The federal agency that oversees the Lifeline says it will no longer silo services, instead focusing on support that's integrated for all callers. The decision is part of a larger budget shift under the Trump administration, which also proposed ending funding for youth-specific services in 2026.
Even when you call 988 now, they are going to get a very well-educated, well-versed, culturally competent operator answering that phone call.
Some national organizations, like the Trevor Project, have criticized the decision, calling it devastating for vulnerable youths. But Barb Smith says the change doesn't mean help is going away, just that it's shifting.
I don't have any concerns with the quality of care they're going to get when they do call in the 988. The only concern that there might be right now is there might be a little bit of wait time.
The move also comes after the administration's announcement of removing the T for transgender, a decision LGBTQ+ advocates say only deepens the harm.
It's a little scary, but I want people to truly understand that the operators will be very competent and being a support and being that listening ear.
Focus on unity and not the political answers as to why. Smith says during this month, no matter what obstacles arise, it's about knowing that no one is alone.
We all just need to be kind and better people to each one of us.
Locally, the Suicide Resource and Response Network right here in mid-Michigan will continue to provide support and training for those in need. Trey Harris, back to you.
Local News Live, I'm Brian Pierce. Today, the Supreme Court upheld a Tennessee law restricting gender transition care for minors. The decision delivers a major blow to transgender rights. The court's ruling was split 6-3, with the 3 liberal justices voting against the restrictions. Today's decision will likely impact about 24 other states that have already enacted similar laws. Those typically ban gender transition surgery, puberty blockers, and hormone therapy. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the ruling saying Tennessee's law doesn't count as sex discrimination. Trans rights activists worry the ruling could open the door for similar bans aimed at adults. President Trump recently signed an executive order restricting gender-affirming care for teens nationwide. It's been blocked by a judge. We'll continue to follow this developing story. For now, we return to programming. You're watching Local News Live.
I'd say, like, queer people aren't gonna stop existing, you know? So, like, pushing a bunch of anti-gay agenda is not gonna stop people from being gay. It's just gonna make them feel more scared. And, I don't know. Like, I feel like people think that it's gonna literally stop us from existing, as if we have a choice as to what we are, but, like, the reality is we don't. Like, I'm not gonna decide that I'm lesbian just because I think it's gonna make my life easier. Like, it makes my life harder, actually, but, like, I can change it, and making it illegal to be gay isn't gonna make me suddenly turn straight. So, I don't know. So, I just think queer people are always gonna exist, no matter what. And, yeah.